and it smells like someone left pesto and onions like on the oven and just let it burn.
Ew.
Like it's the best way to describe it. It was so powerful. The cats were freaking the fuck out. They were like sniffing like right under the couch because that's like where it's sprayed under my trailer. And sure enough, I peek outside and I see a skunk come waddling out from underneath my trailer, and then it walks around behind it and it's waddling proud. Like, yeah, I just fucking squirted my asshole juice all over the bottom of your trailer.
What's going on, my beautiful peoples? Welcome back to Four Boys and Their PCs. I think we're on episode 3 or 4 now, and we just got one topic today. Tarkov, everybody's favorite fun time. It's just have you ever
hot topic.
Have you ever just like walked outside and smelled the roses? That's Tarkov.
Yeah, we play it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake, how's Tarkov going for you? How's this wife?
Well,
how's the wife going, boy?
Let's find out how that wife's going.
Funny that you ask, because I'm sure all of you guys, I haven't played the game in probably about a month now. Maybe a little bit longer. Has it been longer?
Crazy.
For me and Michael and Austin.
How have you been? How can you not play it for that long? What is wrong with you?
Well, it's like I probably, I mean, as you guys are probably aware, I had most likely my best start to this wipe that I have since we all started playing. Like, I played for I probably played longer, but like for 2 weeks I played it very consistently, and I got further in the quest lines than I think I ever have. Like, I'm seeing quests that I've never seen before, and I got to I think I'm level 31, which is insane for me that quickly. And if I would have just kept playing, I probably, would have even had a shot at cap of this wipe. But I just got to a point where, all the little issues with the game that, normally never bugged me, because it was like, well, I'm not really good enough at the game anyway, so these little bugs are no worse than just getting one tapped in the face every other raid. But oh, Michael, the sounds.
Nope, you're gonna have to cancel yourself so he can have his podcast.
Oh, help ya, Jesus Christ.
Just mute up. Don't blink, don't breathe, don't blink.
Yeah.
Drink. Don't drink.
The only thing you're allowed to do is speak and fart.
Man. That's all you're good for.
But
No.
unless you want to blow me, but that's
good.
that's a thing for another time.
Hey.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. That's,
Alrighty.
You do you.
I never said there was nothing. Did you just insinuate there's something
He
wrong?
did insinuate, so he's canceled.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
You're out of here.
Your barkeep
Austin,
just
did that guy just do the stairs
yeah,
thing where
he
walked
did.
up his man?
That's why I said whoa. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like the little bugs are really starting to get to me. Like, the audio has always been kind of janky, but it's never really bugged me. Like, I've watched a lot of videos where people are like, the audio is fucked. Like, if you're in dorms and you're on 3rd floor and you come in first, you won't be able to hear anybody on 3rd. And I never noticed it. I don't know if it was because I just didn't care, or I just, if I'm being completely honest, most of the time when I saw people make videos about that, I would just be like, okay, you're salty because you got killed. Like, grow the fuck up. It's Tarkov. And then I started to notice it more and more, and I was like, okay, that's kind of fucky. But the one that really did me in was the Scav AI is just broken. Like, they are I think you have talked about it with me, Austin, before. Like, from a pure lore standpoint, even untrained civilians would not be as accurate with weapons.
They're probably drunk too. On top of that, they're probably sipping vodka during the day, so they're heavily buzzed, untrained civilians that can one tap you from across. Maybe that's the key though. Maybe if
We're
everyone in
not
the
getting
military,
drunk enough.
yeah, like maybe if we were drunk.
Well, and on top of that, we've all used scav guns. Their weapon conditions are absolute shit.
That's a myth.
So how are they even? It's like their weapon damage isn't
Well-
even turned on until we pick up their guns.
See, I'm drunk right now, and I still consider myself a good shot.
See?
Yeah, but you're a trained civilian. These guys aren't. They're just
Well,
random
what?
civilians in Russia. I mean, granted, yeah, we don't know that for sure. Maybe they all went to AK boot camp when they were 12. I have no idea.
I've heard AK boot camp is pretty big deal nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's taught by Putin shirtless on a grizzly bear.
That's how they get everyone to sign up so fast.
Yeah, they see those nipples and they're just like,
Mm-hmm.
You heard it here first, folks.
Putin's
about
got the
nips
nips.
We're all about nips on this channel.
But yeah, it's just shit like that is just really starting to bug me. And on top of everything, they're always, they had another Tarkov podcast the other day, and they said a lot of stuff that I'm not a fan of. For starters, I don't know if you guys have heard, but apparently, everybody's been saying for the longest time that Steam audio has been broken. I remember right after we first started playing, they introduced it, and I actually thought it made the game sound a lot better, and I was hearing the directions of footsteps a lot better. But apparently, because everybody's been saying for the longest time, oh, it's bugged, it doesn't work properly, we need to do something about it, Nikita just dropped the bomb and said, we're just going to get rid of it and start over with our normal audio.
Huh.
So
Play easier.
to my understanding, that means, they could prove me wrong, and I hope they do, but that to me means, okay, Tarkov audio is going back to shit, and it's going to stay that way.
Damn right.
The way it should be.
So
Well,
that
good
was
on
pretty
you.
upsetting. And then, of course, they did the usual stuff for the fucking 7 billionth time. He said, Streets is on track, and it will be by the end of this year.
I don't believe it.
I don't either. I hope it is. It will be the first iteration. It's not going to be the whole map and all the features and all that stuff. But, I really hope it does come out. And I think they said they're shooting for 20-player raids on launch. Because it's still supposed to be, even though it's just the first iteration, it's still going to be theoretically the biggest map we have in the game so far. So
Yeah.
And they've, the past year or so, they've been saying the reason they've been taking longer on it is they really want to focus on performance because they don't want it to come out like Lighthouse and Reserve when they first launch and just be, frame city. But that's another thing where it's just I know the game's in beta, I know they work hard, and I'm not a game developer, I don't know what it's like to do all this stuff, but I just don't trust them at this point when they say stuff like that.
I trust.
Yeah, and I thought, wasn't Streets supposed to be 100 players or something?
I don't know about
Is that
100.
true?
I'm pretty sure he said he wants to shoot for 40, but I also believe he said that if the game can handle it, he wants to add as many as possible. So, I guess theoretically 100 is a possibility at some point, but we won't really know until, we get the full map and see how it even handles, 20.
Yeah.
Because, that's without even any AI. That's, I know we're not getting, as far as I know, there shouldn't be any bosses or anything like that day one. But that's not even including, scavs and shit. And then eventually we're going to have a boss with, an APC vehicle and all that shit. And I think there's supposed to be, 4 total bosses on the map eventually. So it's...
Good God.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And they said some other stuff that, I'm interested in, but I also didn't really care about for the time being. He mentioned the storyline quests again, and that they will not be in the game until 1.0, which is when the game fully releases, which to me is in the year 2042. So I just really didn't care about that. And then he said, this also really bugged me. He was talking about Lightkeeper, the first in-game trader, and how that's going to work. He still didn't really tell us how it's going to work. He keeps saying he wants us to be surprised by it. And then he said it's coming next patch. And then he said soon. But he, in Nikita's words, that could be next patch. Or actually, I don't even know if he said soon. I just know he said next patch. So that could be like next week, or he could be saying like, he didn't specify if he meant like the next actual patch coming to the game or the next like big white patch. Like he didn't say that.
Yeah.
And Lighthouse, like the Lighthouse expansion wasn't even supposed to be, as far as I know, wasn't even supposed to be an expansion. That was supposed to come out when Lighthouse did, and so was the Trader. So we got Lighthouse, we waited forever, we got the Lighthouse expansion, and now we're waiting forever, and then we might get the Lightkeeper.
Well, I don't see, like, if they're making so much money off of this game, and all that stuff, why can't they just hire more staff?
Yeah, and that's something I don't understand either, because, I mean,
updates are so slow.
Yeah, they are.
They're very slow.
And it's weird, because it seems to go back and forth. Like, last wipe, there was, like, that 2 or 3-ish month period where it seemed like every week we were getting a new event that was happening, and it had lore tied to it. And it was like, holy shit, this is kind of cool. They're actually, kind of pulling a Fortnite. They're doing stuff with the game like every week or every other week. This is kind of exciting. And then they release a big patch, and then it kind of goes back to normal where they're trying to fix bugs. They're changing trader items and buffing certain things and nerfing certain things, but nothing big. And then they keep talking about all the big stuff that they want to bring to the game.
Agreed.
I want to see what the finished product's going to be. I think one thing that will definitely get me to come back is when Arena launches, because that's something I've been thinking against.
I agree. I'm
excited for that.
Yeah, I was talking to Michael about it, and I said, like, I haven't done it because it's Tarkov. There's nothing like Tarkov, but for the first time after I took a break, I was actually considering uninstalling it for a while because I'm just kind of fed up with the problems that they have. And but I did tell him, I said that I think when Arena comes out, that I definitely will probably come back. I mean, if it wipes, I might come back then, because I honestly assume it's probably going to wipe again before we get Arena.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, is like we have no idea when Arena's coming. Like it doesn't seem like it's anytime soon. They made it sound like it would be fall-ish, but I doubt it. I think we'd be lucky to get it by the end of 2023.
Yeah, wasn't Street supposed to come out way sooner, and they just kept pushing that back as well?
I believe so. I think Streets has been delayed more than several times at this point.
Yeah.
That's just how they do it.
I think Jesse Kazam was saying that he's been waiting 4 years for Streets, so it's been a hot minute.
My God.
And then on top of that, they've been releasing all the other maps and the expansions and stuff, which is fine. Like, I think so far all the expansions were really awesome, but like, don't keep teasing a big, like, this is the next big thing, but then be releasing other stuff. It's
don't tease me.
It's kind of irritating. It's like, oh, sweet, Streets, and then it's like, but wait, here's Lighthouse, here's the customs expansion, here's the factory expansion. It's like, hey, these are great, but didn't you just say we were getting Streets?
I need my streets, son. I'm from the streets, dog.
What about you, Michael? I mean, I know you occasionally like to play the game solo when everybody's not on. Have you played it at all since we last played?
Every day of every week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he eats, breathes, and sleeps it.
That's right. I had
him off of his computer last week because he hadn't gone to work in a month, and they were pissed. So I had to go over there and literally pry him out of the chair from the desk
and
get him out.
I was there, too. I had to get a flat bar under him because there was so much...
Yeah, we had to use tools.
I was going to say, the other day... When I was at work, I thought I heard the sound of somebody like stickily being peeled from a chair. I was like, I wonder.
That was
very
me.
stickily.
Stickily.
It was
Yeah, the
very
whole town
much.
heard it.
Very
The whole town was like, God, it's so stickily.
He only stopped to hit up Jack in the Box once for nourishment.
Sure.
That's it.
I was there too.
Actually, was there for that one. I saw him at Jack in the Box on Wednesday.
You did.
I've been to Jack in the Box so long.
Dude, it's like the only
You're
fast
not
food I
missing
eat
much.
now.
Isn't it? Yeah,
Of course.
I've heard that the one in Pullman is not a very good Jack in the Box, but
It's not.
It's not, but
really
it's
not.
still, it's like the main place I get my food.
yeah,
Because they have everything. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter what you're in the mood for. What, you want some egg rolls? Jack in the Box. You want some churros? Jack in the Box. Cheesecake? Jack in the Box.
Diarrhea, Jack in the Box.
Yeah, it's like it's all there.
Explosive diarrhea.
It's just,
Jack in the Box
if
is
Jack
great.
in the Box is listening, we would love to be sponsored.
Yeah, I'll take
I'd
it
eat the fuck out of some fucking jumbo jack.
I would
I'm
too.
actually-
The two to the
I would-
tacos, man. That's.
I would eat that one Jack in the Box guy's nose.
You'd just eat his whole nose.
Yeah.
Mm,
Wow, that's pretty sexy, honestly.
you kind of got me going. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
But yeah, it's
Sure
just...
you nose.
I was listening to the Pogcast the other day, and Jamie and or not Jamie, that's my cat. Shout out to the pussy. But
Wow, you're gonna look back on that and cringe.
I already kind of have, but I embrace the cringe. It's a good time. But anyway, Veritas and Jesse, not Jamie, were talking about how I think Veritas had talked to Nikita at one point about the Scav AI and that it's bullshit. Like, he's been ranting and raving about it for a couple years now. And Nikita kind of more or less agreed with him that it needs to change, but it would be so much work that they'd have to rewrite a lot of stuff. So he's planning on just quote unquote putting a band-aid on it and for a later date and then fixing it. But their solution to that was, like, they gave an example with the rogues, and like when the rogues first came out, we were all excited. We're like, okay, sweet, like, you basically free raiders that guaranteed spawn every raid and we can get some good shit from them. But they were like absolutely cracked. Like, they just destroy you the split second you see them. And the only way to really farm them was to hide up in, like, a rock with cover and then, like, do the slow lean where you're just barely poking out of cover and shoot them all in the head. And that's not, that's not engaging. It's one thing if, you're coming up on an enemy and that's how you decide to stealthily take them out. But if that's, like, almost a requirement to beat an enemy without, dying, then that's not fun. And his quote band-aid solution was rogue spawn less. That was it. He didn't change their AI. He didn't change how they react or how far away they can see you. They just spawn less now. They are so ridiculous that on Lighthouse, if you're in that little cottage area, across that fucking bridge where there's a fucking river or stream and a boatload of trees behind you, if you're a bear, the guys on the MG turrets will shoot at you from the water treatment plant.
Good God. Well, I don't see why it would be so hard. I don't feel like it would take that long to fix it, because when we first started playing, the scabs weren't as bad as they are now, So it's like, how did they
you still had occasional times where you're like, oh, okay, I just got one tapped from a toss, but it felt like it was less frequent. And I don't know if that was just because when we first started playing, everything was like, oh my God, so scary. So maybe we just didn't notice it as much. But I just feel like recently, especially like the raid that had actually happened and that made me say, you know what, I need to take a good leave of absence from this game was it was like week 2 of the wipe, so not many people were using good gear yet, and I was like level 30, so I was doing really good. I had a Corund armor, which is class 5, and a level 4 helmet with a level 4 face shield, so I was feeling pretty beefy. And I just took out a 5-man in dorms. Like, I killed 5 people solo, and I didn't take any fucking damage. Like, my armor was still at 100. My helmet and stuff was still at 100. I think I hurt my arm a little bit, but I was able to heal that up. And then a scav walks around the corner and somehow one-taps me in the face with a Taz.
Bullet.
And,
my God.
And not only was it infuriating, but when I died, nothing on my face shield was damaged. So it said head eyes in the death screen. So he shot me where my face shield was. It didn't show the face shield was damaged. I don't know if that was fucking latency or something like that, or a glitch or what. But he one-tapped me in the face after I just destroyed a 5-man. And as far as I remember, it wasn't even like decent ammo either. It was just like normal buckshot.
Well, yeah, is there like even AP ammo for the Taz?
Well, I mean, it's a shotgun shell, so I mean, I think it should be able to go in there. I'm not 100% certain though. I don't fucking use that thing.
It's a 20 gauge.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I don't think so. So yeah, I just like after that happened, I just needed to take a break, and I think I've played the game once since then. I was in the party with some of my friends from Georgia that play DayZ a lot, and I was kind of like I was kind of buzzed off some wine, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna boot up Tarkov. Fuck it. And I decided to go factory naked with a VPO because I still have the quest where I got to kill 2 more PMCs within like 20 meters with a bolt. And so I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. And I spawn underneath by the camera bunker door on gate 0 side. So, and I hear a player. I heard one set of footsteps. I hear a player spawn in the gate 0 room, you know, where the extract is. And I was like, okay, so we got a player there. So I run up to, you know, where the ramp pokes out on that wall, and I hear his footsteps on the metal right outside that door. And when I came around the corner, he was like touching my nose. So the audio was telling me he was like 30 fucking feet away from me, but he was right on the other side of the corner.
Yeah, and I always have that one problem where like I'll hear, like a lot of times I can never tell where scabs are. And I don't know if I've noticed like the PMC thing you were talking about. I mean, I'm not that good at like figuring out where people are via audio, so I probably have noticed it, but what I noticed is I'll hear a scav like yell a voice line, and at first it will sound like he's right next to me for like a split second, and then it gets like super far away really quickly.
Yeah.
And like that's been happening for the past 3 updates for me.
Yeah,
and,
I
like,
think that's just a weird bug, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
And half the time, yeah, they could be like really far away, but it sounds like they're right next to you, and it's like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know what happened with their.
I'm thinking, I'm almost wondering if like the Unity engine is I mean, I don't know, I'm not a developer, but I'm wondering if, because they keep adding so much shit to this game. I wonder if the Unity engine is just like reaching its limits or something, and it's just like they have so much shit piled on this engine that it's starting to break.
Well, and they still, from what I understand, they plan on moving to the next version of Unity too, and they just went from like 2018 to 2019, but now apparently they're looking to go to 2020.
Well, and to be honest, I didn't really notice the difference going from Unity, what was it, 18 to 19?
I thought at first that the game felt like it was running smoother, but I think that could have just been, you know, like honeymoon goggles. Like, oh, they said there's a new thing in the game. Yay.
Yeah.
It's so much better now.
Yeah, you thought there was an actual change, but yeah. The placebo effect. That's what
Yeah.
they call that.
Placebo.
Stupid science bitch couldn't even make I more smarter.
But yeah, I'm just kind of fed up. Like I love Tarkov. There is no other game like Tarkov. I adore Nikita. I think he, you know, despite all the
It's an adorable little Russian man.
all
That's what
the
you're talking about here.
despite all the things that the BS does that frustrates me, I do believe that they work hard. Like they, from what we know, I mean, I don't work there, so I don't literally know, but from what we've been told, they work through weekends, they work through holidays, like not all the time, but they do work hard.
Does Nikita do that? The employees might.
Yeah.
But does Nikita do that?
Well, and it's funny too, because during their podcast, you know, I think I honestly I can't remember the dude's name. I want to say Dimitri, but I'm probably saying it wrong. But he plays the game, and occasionally he'll do online ones, and sometimes, most of the time, he'll do offline to, you know, just show off what happens. And even he gets fucked by the scavs, and then Nikita gets mad at him. It's like, dude, watch your fucking game and notice that there's a problem. If one of the dudes that's literally helping you make the damn thing is struggling in a fucking offline raid, something is wrong.
I still want to see Nikita do like a 12-hour live stream.
Yeah, I'm sure he has, but I've never seen him physically play it. For all I know, he's probably one of those guys that's, you know, he has the plans, but he doesn't actually game much himself.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know.
I'd like to think he'd get his ass destroyed and be like really pissed off at the game, but at the same time, what if he was just like a god?
Oh yeah, then all this would be no.
I feel like
good.
I feel like he's probably a mix of Pete Hines and Todd Howard, where he is in charge, but he's also just the face of the company. So he might not actually do much other than being in charge, but he also is like, you know, the PR guy, so to speak. So he, like, you know, he's in charge, yeah, but he also just, you know, he's the person that tells you everything that is going on. So I don't know how much interaction he has with actually building the stuff. And, you know, he might just be that kind of guy who, you know, like in Office Space, wears the fucking suspenders and the tie and has really nice shirt. Yeah, walks around with a coffee. And
So you could come in on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
For all I know, that's exactly what he does. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's the opposite. Maybe he's actually one of the dudes on the computer. Because for what it's worth, every time they do a podcast, he looks fucking exhausted.
Maybe he's just like smoking a bunch of weed. And he's stoned.
It's possible.
That'll do it.
I mean,
That'll do it.
I'd be pretty stressed out with a war going on, trying to make a fucking video game.
It's not going on where he is.
No, but I'd like to think he probably doesn't agree with what's going on, or, you know, I mean, I have no idea, but
he probably doesn't want to say anything because, you know, he doesn't want to disappear.
well, that and the fact he's making a Russian war game, so it's like, I should probably just be quiet, keep my head down, and keep working.
Yeah, best not to get involved with the riffraff.
Yeah, I'd say no.
But yeah, it's frustrating, man, because it's a game that's been in beta for, what, over 5 years now, 2017, and at the end is nowhere in sight.
I've been playing it for 10 years now.
And there's still so much that they want to do to the game, that they plan on bringing to the game. I think in that podcast he even brought up the unconscious state too that he wants to bring soon. He said that the armor hitboxes and stuff like that and being able to customize your rigs, he thinks are still planned, but it's like far back burner, not high priority right now. And to me, when I hear, you know, it's not high priority, far back burner, regardless of what he's talking about, that to me just means, okay, we're still years away from you getting to full release then.
Yeah.
Because as far as I was aware, originally, this year was going to be the plan for full release.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean,
Well,
don't get me...
Is Streets the last actual map they want to add, then the rest are going to be DLC, or was there one more?
As far as I know, yes. I think Streets is like the last map, so all they'll have to do is, you know, get all the expansions for it's out, get all the bosses and whatnot, in-game traders, etc. And then if they want to do any other expansions, they can do that, although I don't think any of the other maps need it anymore. I think we're good on expansions.
Yeah.
And then I think he also wants to get map-to-map travel done before full release too. Which will be interesting when that happens, because that's going to change. Like, once the game fully releases, like, it's really going to be, if they are doing everything that they plan to, it's going to be a completely different game. I don't necessarily know if we'll get open world. I really hope we do. But that'll still involve map-to-map travel. Like, there's going to be less PvP because we're not all spawning in the map at the same time. It's going to be more like instances where, you know, you'll maybe spawn in somewhere and somebody's already near extract, almost done with their raid, or somebody's trying to work through the map to get to labs or all that shit. So I agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see where we end up when the game actually comes out, but it just seems like we're further and further away from that with every patch.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know.
It's just frustrating when it's something that you enjoy so much, like you really love, like when you really love a game, and then you just see all these problems it has, and then all they ever say anything about is, oh, we plan on bringing this. Because that's another thing, is they never, unless it's like a huge bug that's super obvious, when something's wrong with the game, like the AI, for example, they don't even really acknowledge it. They're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with our perfect game.
It's fine. What are you kids talking about? It's fine.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of frustrated.
Yep. And they charge like $140 too.
Well, we can't keep throwing that back in their face. We bought it. He didn't put a gun to our head to buy it. We bought the standard version, and we liked it so much. We were like, you know what? I'm going to buy this full version. Because we will get the DLC for free, and Arena's going to be free to us too. So I still think we got our money's worth. Yeah, even though I think Arena's only going to be like $20.
That's assuming that the game will ever actually be, you know, released. Well,
I think at the very least we are at a point now where I don't think they're going to be those devs who take all the money and run. Like, I think it may take forever, but I do think they fully intend on seeing this through. Like, I think especially Nikita, like, they're too passionate about it to, you know, just cut and run at some point. I think what I'm worried about is, you know, when it releases and they give us DLC and all that stuff, how long are they going to support it? Because, like I said, he looks fucking exhausted, and he, even years ago, he would say, like, they don't know when is enough, when they should stop adding stuff and just, you know, hammer it all out and then release the game. And probably pretty excited to work on their next game too, especially with all they've learned through Tarkov.
Well, yeah, isn't their next one gonna be like a single player game or something?
I think so, and if that's the case, dude, I'm so pumped for that because there's no game that has weapon mechanics like Tarkov. So if you can make like a Tarkov like almost open world RPG type game with the same gun mechanics as Tarkov, dude, that's like all I would ever play. And then you could, since it's single player, you could think about all the mods you can put in that. Especially with the Unity engine, if they continue to use that, the Unity engine is, from what I understand, really easy to work with for modders.
I think they should dabble with Unreal 5.
I think that would be cool too.
Engine.
That seems like it's going to be the next big thing. I mean, Unreal Engine has always been great, but I feel like it hasn't been focused on much until Unreal 5 came out. Now everybody's just like, yep, Unreal 5, that's the GOAT.
That looks really fucking good. It gives me a boner.
Yep.
What about you, Michael? You've been very quiet. You gotta have some opinions on all this stuff.
Not really, because I haven't been that active in this wipe.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you've played enough to know what the game's like.
You know, I don't care. I don't really mind the scavs being rapey. I just think of it as part of the game, personally.
Oh, heresy.
Absolute heresy.
You don't see our points though, that like
I see your
like
points,
them
see your
being
points.
untrained civilians. It's kind of excessive sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely excessive, and they could tone it back to how it used to be, but
All I want them to do is take, like, I assume that the AI has like a percentage hit chance. I just want their first like 1 or 2 shots max. I don't think they should have a chance to hit, period.
I think the first shot should not be a headshot. It should be like a limb crippling shot.
See, but if you do that, then we're going to go back to the problem we used to have where something was wrong with their AI, and any time you got shot at by a scav, they broke both your legs, and that infuriated everybody because unless you're pre-pained if you're pre-pained, if you're not, you're going to be limping and get headshot in the next 2 seconds.
Well,
but
they give you 2 seconds of chance. Now you don't have a chance.
You should always be pre-paying, and I'm always pre-gaming on the pre-pains, you know.
And see that, and Austin brings that up. That's another problem I have, though. Tarkov is, it's a video game. It's not super realistic, but there is an amount of realism in Tarkov, and I do not like the pre-painting aspect. I wish that it was, like Michael was saying, I wish it was more of a situation where you got shot out of nowhere and maybe you got crippled, but then you had a chance to get into cover or use a painkiller. I think it's dumb that you can pre-pain, because in real life, that's not how it works. I mean, in real life, a painkiller isn't going to do shit for a broken leg anyway, but
I mean,
it's like
morphine would.
if I just popped an ibuprofen and then broke my leg, it's not going to make it, I'm not going to be like, oh, that hurts, but I can still walk. It's okay.
They did go for realism, which I think, ibuprofen should not be a full painkiller in that game. There should be different levels of painkillers.
And I also, this might be unpopular, but I think they should increase weapon sway, especially if you have like a big ass scope on your gun. Because if you did that and you got rid of the pre-pain effect type thing, which when they add in addiction to the game as a skill, probably will change how that works a little bit.
As a skill. Yeah, I'm addicted to 4 different drugs. That's a skill.
It's a skill.
But I think once they add that, if they added a little more weapon sway, that would make it so if you're getting shot at by somebody, like say 200 meters away, and they hit you in the leg, you gotta get out and get into cover and painkiller, but because of the weapon sway, it's gonna be harder for them to, you know, one tap you in the head again, and it's also gonna make those situations more climactic and more intense because you're gonna be like, oh fuck, I really gotta get into cover, and the guy who's shooting at you, his heart's gonna be racing too, because he's gonna be like, fuck, this guy's gonna get into cover and painkiller, I need to get this shot before he gets out of my sight line, but your fucking weapon is swaying, so you gotta really pay attention to your shots, or just hope to get lucky. Which, for longer range engagements, unless you're a fucking trained ass military guy, which technically our characters are supposed to be, is realistic, because long shots, especially with wind and all that shit, are not easy shots to make.
Well, yeah, but like, how much do they want to? Like, I don't know. I feel like they could add too much when it comes to that shit. But
I agree. I mean, it is still a video game at the end of the day. I'm just trying to think of
kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of, you know, I don't know. I also think it would make those long, you know, one-tap headshots more exciting because it would be slightly more difficult to get them. I'm not saying I want your gun to be like fucking, like you just held your breath and then you finally ran out of air and your gun goes all over the place. I'm not saying I want that, but I think the weapon should sway a little bit more.
Parkinson hands?
But if they did that, unfortunately, we'd go back to, I mean, there would be more CQC. And as we all know, because, we haven't even touched on this yet, because of the desync, close quarters are, you know, not fights you really want to take if you don't have to.
Yeah, the desync has been pretty bad.
I think it's kind of, when I stopped playing, it started to kind of mellow out to its normal levels, which doesn't mean it's good, but when it first wiped, it was the worst I had ever seen. For the first time, I could actually see it. Like, sometimes you feel like you could feel it. Oh, somebody's getting a butthole delivery. This man has no podcast class. But, yeah, I remember specifically there was one time where I was in Fortress and Customs, and I was sitting in a corner. I heard a couple guys come in, and I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here, wait for him to come around the corner and unload into him. And so the dude comes around the corner. I emptied my entire mag into him, and then I just fell over dead. I heard 2 bullets in my audio that weren't mine. And when I died, the dude was still in his sprinting animation. And as you guys know, you cannot shoot and sprint at the same time in Tarkov. And then when I got to the after action report, it said I never fired my gun.
No. Good God.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stats and stuff in that game that don't, you know, add up.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder if the stat thing just isn't accurate a lot of the times, because I feel like it is.
Yeah, and it doesn't, because it doesn't make sense sometimes when it says, like, 600 damage absorbed by armor, and it's like, okay, what does that mean? Because the highest armor in the game has 80 hit points. So where the fuck does 600 fit into that?
I think they add that up overall, like everyone you shot at and hit.
Yeah, that's another thing that kind of bugs me. I kind of wish they would be more specific, because like if you killed like 4 or 5 scavs and then you died to one player, it's like, oh, you did 70,000 damage. It's like, okay, that's great. How on the god earthly fuck am I supposed to tell how much of that was to the PMC I was fighting?
God's earthly fuck.
But yeah, so in general, that's how Tarkov has been.
Thank you and have a good night. Bye-bye.
But is there any last words anybody has, or are we all good?
That was the last word.
Okay.
This is all dead air.
Well, that's all we got for you.
Dead air.
We'll catch you in the next one.